But come up close. You'll just have to see it. This is the bird, that Arctic gyrfalcon, and this is the largest falcon. Want that? But another one. But another one. I didn't really name her, but I thought of naming her Bear.
We met in Ketchikan, Alaska in a bar doing country swing dancing. You either meet, there's two ways you meet someone in Ketchikan. It's either a bar or church, and we met in a bar. So you have to realize I did not know what falconry was or that Ron had a falcon in high school. So this is like things you learn after you get married. He came home and said, I think I'm going to start falconry again. And I said, what's that?
Lisa's been really accepting and very good about that. And the dogs, too. She ends up being sometimes more sensitive to some things about the dogs than I am. She gets actually almost more attached to them, but not to the birds so much. And she helps me. She's gotten used to seeing dead birds, and I'm plucking them and getting them ready for feeding. Sometimes with falconry, it can be very stressful. So that puts pressure on her too, because I'm not in as good a mood and I'm in a rush. I had a medical practice and I had to get back, make sure I was back at the office at a certain time. So she ended up, having to understand the time I had to spend, which I could have been spending with her. As I mentioned, it impacts her. To me, it was just kind of a way of life.
It's taken our kids to grow up and leave us and then come back and bring people into our house to realize that they had an unusual childhood. It was so common to them. I mean, to have birds on perches, to have hooter there, to have, all I'd have to do is be in the garden and yell snake, and I had 3 guys running out beside. They spent a lot of time with Ron on the birds and on flight. When I've looked at Ron over the years holding these huge goshawks, they're looking at him like, who the hell are you? And he's looking at them with complete adoration. And the question I've always asked myself is, what does this mean to the bird? I know what it means for Ron.
The birds don't tolerate mistakes. Part of that is because they can have health issues, they can get diseases, and they're fragile. They're more like a tool, in a way, because they don't give you that feedback like the dogs.
His bird thing seems to be related to his flying thing, where the whole idea of flight seems to have fascinated him.
I was a pilot in Alaska, and I love flying, and I love watching the birds fly. When I see the birds getting a good flight and they're chasing something, it's a good feeling.
Before, he would go anywhere in a heartbeat and do anything. So he's the person that would get in his plane and fly up to Canada by himself to go fishing for a couple weeks, and I wouldn't be able to contact him. As he got older and his energy level went down, the desire to do that got less and less, and he got more and more into the birds and the animals.
We've been doing these drills for weeks now, and I want the bird to come just right off. I don't want any hesitation. He's having a hard time. Oh!
Life happens, and when life happens, it changes what you do when you think you're going to do it. My sister didn't want the boys separated, and she died October of that year. So we got 3 more kids into our life when I was turning 50 and he was turning 60. We had 5 dogs and 5 kids, and I looked at Ron and I said, I think this is too much. I even said to Ron once, when we got into the thick of it, I said, if you need to go, I understand. There was a few times I said that to you, remember?
Mm-hmm.
That was a really hard year, but it was Ron really stepped up, and I don't, in relationship, there's a lot of little things that can bug the hell out of you for people, with living with someone, but it matters whether they step up for the big stuff, and, Ron did. Because it was so many years with so many kids, it was like, it was okay that they were leaving now. It felt like it was the right time. We had gotten the kids through college, and I feel like there was this time element that we were facing, and it was time for me. So I retired at 62.
I was kind of glad to retire, but it was hard to.
That's when he said, I want to train dogs, and we ended up with 8 dogs.
I think each of us has to be doing something.
Yeah.
I can't be sitting around. I know I could do dogs, keep the dogs longer than I can with the birds. But I'm going to try. If I have my choice, I'm going to do it as long as I can.
He says he still has 2 more dogs in him. At 75, if you're saying that, dog man, I love you. The saying that people live longer when they have animals in their life. Maybe he's trying to extend his lifetime.